everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I just wanted to sit down and have a very chill and relaxed video for you guys. I just kind of wanted to talk about my experience as a bride and kind of give some tips and tricks on how to just be a not stressed bride. Yeah, and I just feel like a lot of my videos on YouTube are, at least I think they're kind of like instructional and just like, okay, this is what you do and this is how you do it. And so I'm just trying to connect more with my subscribers and with my viewers. And I thought that this would be a really cool way to kind of just sit down and talk to you about, you know, my experience as a bride and just kind of give you some insight into my experience and what I kind of find I'm still in the process. So what I find helpful and what I have found helpful to kind of just let it be an enjoyable process in terms of your wedding planning. And it's kind of funny because anyone who knows me really, really well knows that I am normally a control freak. And so it's kind of like shocking to me that I didn't really let this process, dictate that side of me. And so yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit of my experience and we're just gonna go ahead and jump right in. So as I mentioned, like, it's kind of funny because my mom and my sister, when I first got engaged, were like, you are going to be such a bridezilla because you are such a control freak. Like, if you know me well, you know that I have to have control, or at least I have to at least perceive that I have control over situations in my life. And this is one of those things to where, you know, people who do have those kind of control issues can sometimes take it a little bit overboard and become a bridezilla. And so everyone was so worried that I was going to be that way. And it turns out that I really wasn't. Even now that we're coming up and it's like 2 weeks away, I really haven't been a control freak at all. I haven't turned into a bridezilla. I've been stressed about other things that have been going on in my life, but not the wedding. And for me specifically, I think that it really helps to know that I am marrying the person that I am supposed to be with. Like, I have no doubt in my mind that Brendan is the person I am supposed to be with for the rest of my life. And yeah, so I think that that just really makes it so much easier. And that's how you kind of know, like, you know, you can either let all of like the tiny little details really, really get to you, or you can just take a step back and be like, wow, I am a really, really lucky person, especially to be like this young in life and to know like I have my soulmate. Like, I have the person that I am going to go through so many different things with. And I feel like that is such a blessing. And just knowing that I have a partner in life. I'm not going to be going through life alone. I'm not going to be facing like really good times or really bad times just with me, myself, and I. I'm going to have someone to kind of go through that process with. And so that for me has really kept me humble throughout this process. And it's kind of made me realize like, okay, all of like this, you know, crap doesn't really matter, because I found true love. And like, how awesome is that? And so that's one thing that has really, you know, helped with this whole planning process, is just kind of taking a step back and looking at it from that perspective. And with that, I think that having a longer engagement period has also been really, really helpful in a couple of different ways. I would say that the first way is that it gives us time to kind of enjoy this part of our relationship. You know, we were together for a year before he decided to propose. And that was a really great time of our relationship. And then after the proposal, we kind of moved into this different aspect of our relationship. And, you know, for me, like, I didn't want to rush into like, oh, we need to get married right now. Like, I want you to be my husband, but I didn't need it like in that moment, because I was really, really enjoying having a fiance. Like, that's so cool to say, like, when you meet new people, or whenever you're, you know, talking to friends and family, like, hey, this is my fiance now. Like, I just think kind of basking in that part of the relationship is super, super important. At least it was for me, to kind of just take your time in every single part of the process. I know a lot of people out there probably got engaged or are going to get engaged and want to have the wedding within like 3 to 4 months, or even elope fairly quickly afterwards. And That's so cool. You know, I think that everyone's different in that respect. But for us personally, like, we want to take our time. Like, after we get married, we're not going to have children for probably quite a while since we're both becoming doctors. But yeah, so just like really enjoying that part of your relationship's lifespan, because it's a huge step to get engaged. And then another cool part about having like a whole year, well, for us, it's like 11 months, almost a year, is that things aren't super rushed. So you get to enjoy every step of the wedding planning process. So for example, we knew exactly where we wanted to get married because we had talked about it previously before we got engaged. And so that one was easy. But so I think it was like a day after we were engaged, we actually set our date. Like, we knew around what time of the year we wanted to get married, and we knew our venue, like I said. So we set the date, and then we had so much time to kind of just take things easy. And it was really nice because we were able to, like, you know, have the catering process and the cake tasting process, and like me finding a dress, and like all of that kind of stuff was its own step in of itself, which is really cool because, you know, sometimes whenever things get really rushed, it makes it difficult to kind of enjoy every step of the process. And we like to enjoy life. That's, you know, why we're together, is because we really, really love to enjoy, you know, every step that life takes us. So that's a really cool thing. And in regards to like a tip about trying to be as stress-free as possible, for me, I wanted to get like the big stuff out of the way first. So the big stuff in terms of like wedding planning would be your venue, for one, your guest list, obviously, and then your catering service, your DJ, your photographer, and your cake service. So those are your big six. I'm probably forgetting something, but those are the things that whenever I think about, you know, those are like the big ticket items. That's what's going to cost you the most money. Those are the things that are really going to help make the day more memorable. You know, centerpieces are great, and, you know, your table linens and stuff like that. Like, yeah, sure, those are all nice things, but it's not what is going to make your day, if you get what I'm saying. So for us, we knew that we wanted to have like really great food. We didn't want our guests leaving there feeling hungry and going to McDonald's afterwards. So the food was a really big one for us. We also wanted to have incredible pictures, so that was like another big ticket item. And then, you know, having the DJ obviously entertaining our guests throughout the night, and whenever we're not there, since we had the cocktail hour and taking pictures, you know, we wanted someone who would entertain our guests. So basically, like, we made the first part of our planning the heavy-ended part. And then now, as time, you know, has gone on, and now that we're 2 weeks away, we pretty much don't really have anything to do. It's just like the very small stuff. Like, we have to email our DJ what our different like important songs are, you know, just a couple of like tiny little things, nothing really big. And I think that that has really made it super not stressful because we had plenty of time in the beginning to get stuff done, and that's when we got stuff done. So I think that not procrastinating, if you are someone who is a procrastinator, which trust me, honey, I am. I procrastinate so badly. It's such a bad habit. But that was one thing where I was like, you need to get your stuff together. So that's what I did, and my fiance and I made it fun for us. Like, this kind of thing doesn't have to be stressful, and I hate that wedding planning kind of has like that negative connotation of like, oh my God, it's so stressful and you're going to be a bridezilla and it's going to be a terrible experience, but it really doesn't have to be that way. So after you get engaged, kind of just getting into the swing of things. So for my fiance and I, we love going to Starbucks on the weekends for our morning coffee, and we would just bring our like laptop and wedding planning book with us, and we would just kind of like make a fun morning of it. And that's how we kind of implemented the planning into our daily routine or weekly routine. And another really great thing is download your checklist. So the knot.com has a really great checklist. Any type of like a big wedding planning book that you get is going to have a good checklist. There's tons of them on Pinterest. So just making sure that you have your checklist. That way it'll give you a time frame of when you need to have everything done by. And that really, really helped us to stay in check. And it really helped it to be like a stress-free process because you know exactly what you need to do. And you're not like, crap, I forgot to do that, or I need to do this, and all that kind of stuff. We actually ended up having like our own separate like a planner for the wedding. So we knew what dates we had to have stuff done by. And that was really, really, really helpful. Yeah, so just like making sure that you plan the really hefty stuff in the beginning and then leave the smaller stuff towards the end of the wedding. Another tip that I have for you guys is to recruit help. So if you guys don't know, if you're new to my channel or if you haven't watched videos where I'm like constantly complaining, I am a graduate student and my fiance is also a student. So we're extremely busy with school and always doing homework. Unfortunately, we don't have like the 9-to-5 job to where whenever we come home, we get to chill out and relax. No, that's not our life at all. We come home and we have to do a crap ton of homework and it really sucks, but it'll pay off in the end, right? So for us, where was I going with that? I don't know. Ugh, I hate whenever I lose my train of thought like that. It makes me feel so old. It's like part of my family, like all of the women on my mom's side, like they lose their minds really freaking quick. So where was I going with that? Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Reality. Shoot, I should like rewind the video so I can figure out where the heck I was going with that. Oh my God, you guys, that is so bad, but I remember. So basically what I was trying to say is like delegate the different tasks to different people. So yes, I did not have a wedding planner. And so basically like I had like different people in my family who I really trusted would get things done or like would be able to actually help me. I had them help me with different things. So for example, my step aunt, who is one of my bridesmaids, is an event coordinator, like event planner for a really amazing country club. And so I talked to her about like the timeline of the wedding. That's like another little thing that I didn't even think about, is you need to have a timeline of when your ceremony starts, like to the very end of the night, like when are certain things going to happen? And so she really helped me plan that. And all of this stuff is online. If you guys don't have people who are experienced in this kind of stuff, you can always find it online. Google is your best friend, I promise you. But yeah, and then I know like my grandmother and my mom and my future mother-in-law have really helped to kind of delegate different things. So for example, my mom is taking care of all of the party favors stuff. My grandma has been, you know, contacting the lady for the vendor, just, you know, kind of delegating different people to do different things. And then like on the day of, making sure that every little detail, for example, like who's gonna press play for the music whenever you walk down the aisle, if you're just having it out of a speaker, which we are, because our DJ, like we wanted him for the full time, for the cocktail hour and for the reception. So we're using our own music for the ceremony, and just thinking of those little details to where you could have someone else do that. And that is part of relinquishing that control that I know so many brides feel that they need to be in control and like do everything themselves. And in reality, you really don't. I promise you that everything is going to be beautiful and perfect on your wedding day. Even if your cake falls over, like it's going to be fine. 5-second rule. So yeah, and just like really, you know, realizing that you're getting married because you love your partner. You're not getting married so that you can spend $20,000 on a wedding because you could buy a really nice car with that. You're, you know, just like keeping that in your mind, I think is really, really helpful. I think also making sure that you have your wedding during a time of year that is not stressful for you. So like I said, my fiance and I are students, so having it in like the middle of the school year would not work for us. Having it on like a holiday weekend wouldn't work for us. So we wanted to make sure that we planned it during a time that wasn't very stressful. And so for us, that is during our winter break. And now leading up to it, you know, we have our final exams, but then like the week of the wedding, it's just going to be wedding. You know, it's just going to be like us getting excited, like spending time together, spending time with our family members. So yeah, just making sure that you plan the actual day of your wedding around a time that, you know, you guys aren't super busy or don't have like a whole bunch of work deadlines, stuff like that. Another thing that was really helpful for us was planning our honeymoon right after our wedding. I know it's not like a very common thing for people to do that anymore. I know a lot of my like younger friends who are my age have like postponed their honeymoon so that they could afford their wedding. And so for us, it was very important that we went on our honeymoon like fairly soon after we got married, because as my dad always says, the wedding is not for the bride and groom. The wedding is for the two families to come together to get to know one another. You know, the bride and groom typically don't even have time to eat on their wedding night. So that's another thing to make sure of. Make sure that you take care of yourself. Like, yes, it's a good thing to go around and say hi to all of your guests and stuff like that. But whenever it's time to eat, your guests can come up and say hi to you. You spent like $35 per person on that food and a crap ton of money on that liquor, so they can come up and say hi to you. So just make sure that you take care of yourself during your wedding day. I know that that's something that I'm definitely going to be adamant about. If I want to sit down and enjoy my very expensive meal, I am going to do that. And that's okay. Like, that's not a bad thing to do. You know, you spent a lot of money on this day. Make sure that you enjoy it. Make sure that you're not stressed out, and just kind of have fun, like dance the night away. If you end up not having enough time for the perfect picture, like that's totally okay too. Like, you're going to have plenty of amazing portraits and stuff. And just kind of like getting yourself into that mindset of, it's not about the wedding, because in reality, the wedding is for everyone else. But for me and my fiance, like, we wanted to have a really good honeymoon. Not anything that's super extravagant, but we knew that we wanted to go somewhere that had a beach and somewhere that we could really, really just relax and not do anything at all. And so for us, it was so important for us to have like the honeymoon right after the wedding. And if you can save up for that, I highly, highly recommend that you do that, because after your wedding, you're just going to be like, oh, you know, like, yay, we're married. That's so cool. We spent a whole bunch of money on everyone else and not us. So, you know, just making sure that you try to take the time to plan your honeymoon right after. That would probably be like my biggest recommendation. In second of making sure that you take care of yourself on the day of your wedding. Make sure that you eat lunch, ladies. I know that it's going to be super, super nerve-wracking, but make sure that you eat lunch. Make sure that you eat breakfast. Make sure that you have your Starbucks in your hand. Whatever you need to do, you know, it's going to be a long night. So just make sure that you take care of yourself on the day of. Let everything else go. It's going to be a beautiful day. That's what I keep telling myself. And yeah, so that's it. I'm really excited about this video. I am mostly just excited to like get married and go on our honeymoon. So I just wanted to kind of bask in the glory of almost being a newlywed with you guys, and just kind of taking the time to sit down and talk to you about my little tips on how to be stress-free if you are getting married. And of course this applies to like men and women, because I mean, crap, like my fiance is so nervous about saying those vows in front of a ton of people. So, you know, this applies to everyone, not just women. Obviously. So yeah, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It was so much fun for me to just sit down and talk with you about what's going on and what my process was like as a bride. And I really hope that, you know, any of you who are getting married soon or are about to get engaged, just enjoy the process. You know, I really hope that you just take the time to step back and be like, wow, I'm one of the lucky ones. Like, I'm a person who found my other half. So yeah. All right, I'll see you guys next time.